The next table, I think, would be fun to hear from Josh Zinder and Alexander Street South.
Okay, I guess today was a useful experience, I think, for students. Oh, sorry, not close enough. I guess today was a useful experience for these 4 students. Definitely a lesson in community presentations and relations. You know, our group was not as, I guess it didn't go as smoothly from a planning point of view, but diverse opinions, yes, well, I'll get to that. In general, the group was proposing you know, a development and an extension to the proposed arts and transit neighborhood that the university was proposing. An integration of mixed use, commercial housing, and maybe something else. A potential link to the DNR from that location. You know, an acknowledgement that Alexander, as it stands right now, is really not a very friendly transit corridor, and that clearly needs to be improved. They developed a form-based code to help control this development, and I think that the main goal, and correct me if I'm wrong, was to create a gateway to Princeton, a nexus for Princeton to the greater region. And there were tons of questions. I guess I might have hoped that some of the questions were more pointed to their work and their ideas, but it is clear that our community is very passionate about the Dinky, about taxes, about community relations and economics, and I think that you know, they're looking at something. And I think that any of these projects are really trying to look at something that would protect our communal interests. And I think that we concluded really with the 2 most useful points, which is you know, can this work? You know, everything we're talking about here today, and what's next? And that was really sort of an issue that I think many people had difficulty getting their heads around. That this was really a student exercise to you know, begin or continue a conversation about the development of our community, and I'm fascinated that this could be a big stepping stone, you know, for something next. And you know, I'd be interested in what Jim would talk about as far as what's next. And again, you know, I wish that you guys had been able to really show what you had looked at, but you know, I guess that Alexander Roadside is becoming a focal point, the hotbed of greater issues in our community, which is a good thing, I think.
Now the hospital site, Kirsten.
Hi there. Yes. Last one though. My name is Kirsten Stock. I'm an architect here in town. And I had these 3 Rutgers students basically give a presentation to our table about possible uses for the hospital site, which was not blue sky by any means. They talked about reusing existing buildings, and they kept the code that has been overlaid on that site, which was years in development. They kept that pretty firmly in mind. I did, we don't have any images, is that true? Large scale? let's see if we can get up here. They had an extraordinary number of 11 by 17s showing things like density of existing neighborhoods, uses of the existing buildings, and they clearly did a lot of work on it. I'm not sure we have anything that we can put up other than this. Okay, great. I just wanted to have one of them come up and describe the concept of form-based code, because that's also something that they did, and it's something that Josh mentioned, and I think it would be useful if they just described what that is, because it does link with the concept of zoning. So if we could, if you wanted to describe that, that would be great.
I'm by no means an expert in being able to define form-based code, but my idea of the concept is that it's an alternative to traditional zoning, and it's principally structured around form rather than function. So you're looking at getting input from the community about what would be visually preferable, and you're talking about design standards in buildings rather than just regulating the uses that are allowed to exist there. So it opens up a lot more opportunities to build the kind of communities that you would like to see based on the input of the community. If anyone else has anything to add.
Okay. All right, so they presented to us first, and basically they talked about the fact that the parking garage obviously is a huge asset to that site and should remain there. As we all know, the hospital is going to be leaving at some point in the next couple of years, and it presents a huge opportunity and challenge, really, for the site, because there's an enormous amount of square footage on that site that somebody is going to need to do something with. There has been zoning applied to the site, which is that the parking garage would stay, that the two buildings which are shown up at the top of that screen, I don't know where these are pointed. Yeah. Okay, that one and that one there would stay. Those are, all three of those buildings are within the township, is my understanding. And there wouldn't be residential in those two buildings under the current zoning. In the borough, my understanding is that the zoning right now basically allows for the same volume of building that's currently on the site to remain on the site. And the assumption by some people at any rate is that those buildings would be reused, but I don't think that that's required of the zoning. 6%, back up, 280 residential units are allowed on that site. And 6% of the total square footage, it now says in the zoning, can be mixed office and residential. So these guys presented a plan which essentially creates an open square in the middle between those two office buildings and what would become a residential mixed-use building. And we talked about the size of it. They said that they worked with a lot of different size proposals and ended up with something that's about twice the size of the Heinz Plaza out here. And that the intention would be that that would be wrapped to some degree with retail or office space, and that it would be that it would have a relationship to some sort of retail or office space across the street, which does currently exist, though it's certainly not built out right now. So we talked a lot about the idea of the destination versus a neighborhood center. These guys talk about making it a neighborhood center. There's concern among the community, I would say, that it not become a destination, that transit, and I thought this was an interesting comment, happy to have transit take people out, but not so happy to have it turn people away. I don't know if it would make more sense.